Hi everyone, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you again for joining us for our weekly Q&A session every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, where we take your general questions about U.S. immigration and all the stuff associated with that to answer to the best extent possible in a general educational way, not giving case-specific advice. So we're going to jump at that momentarily as people start to trickle in. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we have multiple YouTube pages, on TikTok, a lot of different pages, and we always get a lot of good questions coming, so I enjoyed it a lot. If you aren't already subscribed to the various social media pages, please do. We have clips of this where we bring a lot of the key questions people have on the Instagram page, for example, at JQK Law Firm Instagram page. So just get down to the questions you have, and a lot of new information and updates from USCIS, from the embassies are posted there as well. We also, for those watching the live program, as an incentive to join the live program, participate, if you like and subscribe wherever you're watching and comment saying consultation, my wonderful assistant, Kayla, will every 10 minutes or so we have 3 of them every 10 minutes from 6 to 6:30, will announce a winner to do a private video consultation for 15 minutes and really just kind of jump into your case and see if we give some private time on that. So with that, hey, let's get it started. All right, thanks again for all joining. We already have some questions trickling in, a lot of regulars, Marlon being one of them. Hi, JQK, I got my green card interview. I was approved right away after received my green card, but no social security number. Did not receive any work permits or blah, blah. So I applied since last, so generally he got the green card approved, Marlon, regular watcher. Congratulations, I'm so happy that it finally worked out. It's been a while. What you have to do now that you got your green card, so the situation is, if you're filing for a green card, usually you mention the paperwork that you want a social security number, and eventually it's sent to you. But with COVID and the pandemic, the Social Security office hasn't been that on top of it to send things on time. So now that you got your green card, you'll get in the mail. Once you have it, wait another 3 weeks and then contact the local Social Security office and maybe go in person depending on what city you're in, depending on how the lockdown situation is with the pandemic. And when you go there, just say, I want my Social Security card, I want my number. You bring your ID, you bring your green card, all that kind of stuff. And then that way they'll issue the Social Security card. But it's a little bit of a mess right now because of the pandemic. Things aren't happening as smoothly as they're supposed to or they used to. But you'll be able to get that, so it shouldn't be a problem. But congratulations on finally getting the green card, Marlon. I'm so happy to hear that. Malik says hello to you as well. One of our regular Paranoid Android sends hello to you as well. Malik asks timelines for I-751s. Well, I-751 is removal conditions. That's if your marriage is less than 2 years when the green card is issued. You have to file another application of 2 years called Form I-751 to show your relationship is real. Those take anywhere from 4 or 5 months to 2 years on average. The average is so long, it's a year and a half time difference. That's why when people ask this question, there's no real good answer. It just depends on whenever they get around to it. Averages, again, 4 or 5 months to 24 months, could go longer. And so there's no real answer. It just depends on when they get around to it. It is not a priority for USCIS. They specifically said the I-751 is not a priority. Their priority is citizenship cases and then marriage cases or green card cases, and then I-751s. Because of that, huge backlogs, unfortunately. But that's that. Next question, Artie says, hey there, John. Thank you for this live show. You're welcome. I think Artie is one of our regulars, watchers too. Good to have all you joining us. Thank you and God bless. Hayatul asks, any information about humanitarian parole visas for Afghanistan? Well, I get about 5 to 10 requests for this emails in my office every day. Unfortunately, the situation in Afghanistan is really bad. My office does not handle these, but humanitarian parole is a special request you could do from the U.S. To be able to be permitted to enter the United States. A lot of those people that they save at the airport who came in entered with humanitarian parole. For it, you need to submit the application from I-131 along with additional documents and send it in. I just don't handle these cases, so I don't like to talk about a case I'm not doing on a regular basis because I don't know nuances necessarily, but also more importantly, I don't know the information in your case because everything is always case specific. But that's the basics. I'm not optimistic it's going to work, or if it does, it's in a timely manner. But if you have no choice, you have no choice. You got to submit it and hope for the best. And I wish the best for you and your family. Winnie says, today is my first live. Well, Winnie, thank you so much for joining. God bless you. Thanks for joining. And if you have some questions, please shoot them out. We'll be happy to do our best to answer them here. Feed Your Faith asks, your information and tips are great. Greetings from Colombia. This is the first time I've joined. Well, thank you, Feed Your Faith. I appreciate it. Both Winnie and Feed Your Faith, how did you learn about the program and to come in live? But thank you for joining. Hopefully, there'll be some good information that can help you out. Our next question is Iman asks, what's the difference between the dates for filing and final action dates? Well, it's a really important question. You know, first off, there's types of green cards that have lines to them. You know, if you marry a U.S. citizen, there's no backlog, there's no line. You could always get a green card. But if you're in what's called a preference category, family-based, employment-based, or diversity visa lottery, every year there's only a limited number of green cards that could be issued. So let's say there's only, I'm making this number up, there's only 1,000 green cards for, you know, adult children of U.S. citizens issued, and there's, you know, 1,000 people requesting that, or say, I can't remember what number I use. Let's see, there's 1,000 green cards available, but 10,000 people are requesting it. Well, that's going to take 10 years to get through the backlog for that number. And so one thing President Obama did to make things a little bit smoother is, before Obama, there was just final action dates, which is when your place in line comes up, that's when you can start sending in paperwork to the government to begin your paperwork to get the green card, or schedule, essentially begin the paperwork. But President Obama said, okay, we're going to do this dates of filing situation. So you won't be able to get your green card, have an interview until the final action date, but we'll have a date of filing that's a little sooner, so you can start submitting your paperwork earlier to get the paperwork out of the way so you could, on time, get your interview. And if you're in the United States, once you submit the paperwork, you don't necessarily have to maintain status, and you can start requesting a work permit as well. So there's benefits to the final action date if it's permitted to be used. That's a real quick version of it. There's more nuances. The USCIS treats it differently. Every month is different. Backlogs are different. So, and that's just a basic one, but depending on the case, things could be different in the situation. But that's the difference. Date of filing is when you can submit paperwork for the green card stuff to keep going forward. But the final action date is the date where they could actually approve the green card. And so date of filing helps you submit stuff sooner, so the case is smoother and potentially getting a work permit and adjusting your life in the United States faster. And that's what that's about. Iman follows up. Also, date of filing mean current dates? No, the current dates, when your case is current, depends on your priority date. So the date the case was started is your priority date, and if the dates on the visa bulletin chart, which are the date of filing and the final current chart, when the current is when your priority date is before the date listed there, that means your case is current. You know, I have videos on this on my YouTube page, JQK Law, that go into better explanation with examples. But I just want to leave it at that right now because I could spend a lot of time talking about this. But thank you for your question, Iman. 29 Subrisi, another regular. Hi, Attorney Khosravi. I noticed that the MVC backlog is less than 500,000 or more. Or is that? I mean, I think it's less. But it's still a lot. In July, immigrant visa update, there is no EB-5 visa done at U.S. Embassy in my country. I'm trying to keep the faith. 29 Subrisi, a regular. I'm sorry, they're not processing. I don't know why they're not processing your country. I haven't heard of anything particular going on there, but that's the situation. They do what they want to do, but hopefully the situation gets better. I'm sorry to hear that, 29 Subrisi. Paranoid Android, another regular asks, USCIS website says I can file a form I-140 and it can be paid by credit card only at a lockbox facility, but the list addresses don't indicate whether it's a lockbox or it's not. Is it safe to send? Okay, so there's two types of places you usually mail stuff for USCIS, either at a lockbox or it's at a service center. Service centers, some of them have started accepting credit cards, but not all of them. Primarily, it's the lockbox. And so I-140s are typically submitted service centers unless you do pre and processing. I'm going to the website right now, uscis.gov, and looking to see what it is and what's the answer to your question. So I-140, USCIS, attention PO box, blah, 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 Nebraska Service Center. So, I mean, when you look at the mailing address for where you're sending it to, you could figure out if it's a service center or if it's a lockbox. For example, Form I-140, when you just go on the website for the direct filing addresses, the basics are all, lockboxes. But if you scroll down, it mentions Form I-907, request for premium processing. Premium processing goes to the USCIS Nebraska Service Center. So technically, that would not be a lockbox. However, I recall that some service centers are accepting credit cards. I don't keep on top of it because, frankly, I don't use credit cards for submitting this. When they allowed credit cards to be used, I used it like 10 or 15 times. 3 or 4 of the cases were returned saying we didn't, the credit card number was wrong or it didn't go through, this and that, and they're incorrect. I had copies of what I sent. I know it was correct. And seeing the level of mistakes they're making and the risk that could happen with things being late and creating problems. Luckily, nothing happened in those cases. That I just stopped and I only use my office checks for paying government filing fees. I do not use credit cards. So people could use it. I don't feel credit cards are safe to send for me as a professional where I have a responsibility. I use checks, but it's up to you. Some people want to use it, some people for whatever reason. So the short of it is I just don't touch credit cards. So whether they can accept it or not doesn't make a difference to me. TikTok fam says, is it true USCIS is waiving interviews for employment-based green cards? For the most part, yes. Historically, they always waived employment-based green card interviews, but now more than ever, they're doing it. Trump wanted to bring it back, but it wasn't feasible, so they took it away. And just this month, I've had 3 different families that are employment-based. The primary person was working, plus their children, their spouse, all got their green cards. So they without an interview. So that's correct. For the most part, employment-based cases do get waivers of the green card interview. All right, was that the last question? I think we got a bunch more, so let's see. Artie asks, hi, John. I just got my green card approved, and I plan to sponsor my fiance after we get married next month. Any suggestions or tips? Thank you. Well, Artie, download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. It really breaks down there. Unfortunately, when you're a green card holder and you get married, the I-130 process could take anywhere from 3-4 months to 2 years. So expect long delays in the process. But yeah, download the ebook, and then if you like, schedule a private consultation where I can talk with you and your fiance to see what's going on. Sooner the better. I always recommend having a consultation with a lawyer before getting married to catch any potential issues that may exist. I do want to reference the winner of our free raffle for a consultation. The first of 3, is Malik Sahab, 211 timeline. Thank you so much for watching. Please take a screenshot of wherever you're watching this and email it to me at info@jqqlaw.com. That's info@jqqlaw.com so that I can reply, and I'll give you a link to schedule the 15-minute free video consultation so we can briefly discuss your case. So for those just tuning in, we give out free video consultations. All you got to do is press like, subscribe, and write consultation in the comments. And my wonderful assistant, Kayla, will name a person in 10 minutes and 20 minutes for the end of the show to have the free video consultation. Now, for those interested in the marriage green card process or fiance visa, should go, the best resources start to do your initial study of this is to download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide, a free guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Again, that's www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. You're going to be blown away of how much information is in there. It's really going to help you. And then after that, schedule time with an attorney once you know the basics. But let's take the next question. TikTok fam asks, my name was wrong on the receipt from USCIS for I-131 instead of they kept L. What should I do? When there's an error on the, well, first of all, check your form I-131 if you kept a copy to make sure you didn't write it wrong. But you could go to uscis.gov when there's these kind of typos. And within their system tools, there's a way, there's an option there for you to communicate with USCIS. For them to notify them what the error is and what the correction will be, and they'll correct it and then send you a new receipt. It's really important you correct it because when you do get your advanced parole, your advanced parole, if you apply for your work permit, will come with the work permit, and the correct name will be based on your I-765 form, your EAD form. But nonetheless, you should correct it. Use the online system. It's pretty good to be able to fix that up there. Just go to uscis.gov and use their system tools. Mokader asks, interview complete and case must be reviewed. How many times do I hear from them again? I don't know how many times you'll hear from them. I don't know what's going on with your case or what issues they are. So I don't know. You might just get approved or might have more emails. Winnie asks, I filed in June, but I've not received my receipt. How long should I wait? This is too long. So if you filed in June and they still haven't said anything, there's something lost in the system. First, you got to check to see if you submit a payment, like a check, did they cash a check or not? That's a good indicator. You should call them up, let them know the applicant's name, your name, and let them know what's going on, uscis.gov. Hopefully you get hold of an officer. And, maybe there was an error in your case, they're returning it. And just not good because June, July, August, it's like 3-4 months at this point. There's serious errors, so you want to really look into that. And this is one of the reasons you have a lawyer at the beginning to kind of avoid these kind of things. But I'm sorry to hear that, Winnie, but you need to keep track of that because it seems like a serious issue that's happening there. Abidon says, good day. Thank you, Abidon. Thank you so much. Auntie says, is it true USCIS is waiving interviews for plaintiffs? Yes, it is. We had a full discussion about that probably 2 or 3 minutes ago, but they are waiving endpoint-based case interviews for the most part. It's not guaranteed. A human being asks, hi, my I-485 adjustment of status green card case is pending. I filed I-824 for my family in UK, but my daughter now got a student visa and she's here for the last 30 days. Can I file I-485? If yes, when? I can't advise you individually on what should be your case. So about the if, and when stuff, I'm not going to answer until we have to have a private consultation for that. But it is possible if she came on a student visa with the intent to study, to later on submit for adjustment of status. It is a possibility, but this goes too much into case-specific information. So I suggest consulting with an attorney that's really local to you. Feature Faith asks, I want to ask, with all respect, is being a marijuana user a problem when doing the medical test overseas, knowing that I will be going to states when it's legal to consume? It is illegal in the United States and all of America. Consuming, possession, selling, buying marijuana is completely illegal and is a serious crime. You would get jail time. Now, some states, local states that may legalize, but the federal government does not recognize it. It's a full-on bad crime. And immigration laws are federal. So if you are a user of marijuana, then that's something that could cause deportation even. So you shouldn't be doing it. They may test for it at the medical thing. They may ask you marijuana use. You always have to be honest, blah, blah, blah. So there's risks. You shouldn't be doing marijuana. That's all I can say about that topic if you're an immigrant. Now, if you're a U.S. citizen, do what you want to do. It's still a federal crime. They could come after you, but it doesn't seem like they're enforcing it. But if you're an immigrant who's not a citizen, bad news, you just got to stay away from marijuana. Antu says, what is NBC and VM? Well, the NBC is a National Benefit Center. They get certain files. NVM, I'm not sure what that is. It might be misspelling it, or I might not know. Kayik says, I got denied my humanitarian parole extension I-131 mixed up with travel document request. I don't have to see what's going on. I'm sorry to hear that, though. Paranoid Android says they rejected it before saying I-140 is not $700, but it is $700. Well, I got to see what's going on with your case, Paranoid Android. They did change up the fees. I'm not sure if that went through or not. I've stopped doing I-140s. These are employment-based green cards. I just got the last employment-based green card I filed was approved yesterday. And that's it. I'm not doing those anymore. I'm just focusing on marriage cases. But going to the filing fees, it's $700. But if you did pre and processing, there's additional fees. USCIS makes mistakes all the time. So I don't know what to tell you. This is just part of the problem. It's baked in the cake. Abidu says, good day. After concurrently filing the I-140 pre and processing, adjustment of status, ADAP, when usually will I get my receipt notice and what should I expect? So pre-processing has been pretty slow recently. They used to like send your receipt within a few days and email it to you. But right now it's taking like 2 or 3 weeks from what my colleagues are telling me to get the receipts. And so it should really take 2 or 3 weeks. If it doesn't come, when you do pre and processing, there's an email address we can email them. There's a special benefit. So you can email them and say, hey, I didn't get my receipts. This is my name. I applied on this day. You probably have a lawyer on the case. Your lawyer should do that if they don't get the receipts in 3 to 4 weeks. And then follow up, see what's going on. So that's what you should do. Antu says error in name instead of T on I-130. What should do? Antu, I've discussed this already. I think you're asking the same question that people are asking, but if there's an error on the receipt, you got to go to the online system at uscis.gov and notify them that there's an error and please correct it, and they'll correct it and resend you a new receipt. Parent says, okay, I thought I was wrong, but I knew they were wrong. Well, if you're doing pre and processing, there's additional fees. They did try to change the fees for this, but that was a block. So it's probably them. It happens. It happened to me where I send the right fees, and that's what people were asking. I think it was yourself talking about credit card and stuff. That's why I was saying credit cards. They make a lot of these mistakes all the time. Yas asks, hello, sir. I'm a U.S. citizen and preparing to file I-130. It's an I-130, not N-130. Application for my parents. Their marriage certificate is 34 years old and is the native language. That's fine. Just got to get it translated. That should be fine. Their last name of mother is incorrect in that marriage certificate. Well, that's not good. I'd have to see it. You might have to make a correction, explain what happened. That creates some problems. Question is, when I get the translation to English, shall I keep the same incorrect name or have it changed to correct last name as it was on the passport? I don't know. I have to see it for myself. The translation itself has to be exact to what the document is. But maybe the marriage certificate is incorrect. You contact the local jurisdiction where they're married. to issue a correction and then, put it together. I have to see how bad it is. So it's something I have to analyze myself. You got to make sure you deal with this properly to avoid really stuff being messed up. And our raffle winner is a-human being talking about the I-24. So please take a screenshot of where you're watching this so I know that profile is yours. Email it to me at info@jqqlaw.com and we'll set up a free 15-minute video consultation. For those just joining in, we do free raffles for the show. So if you're watching the live program and you like and subscribe and you comment, consultation, my wonderful assistant Kayla will know about the people who won the raffle. We have one more, or give that two more, so about 10 minutes or so, one more person is going to get a free raffle ticket. Now, I do want to remind people that if you're interested in a marriage or fiance case, we do have the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide, a 40-plus page guide that breaks down the whole process so you have a great understanding of the process and strategies around it. Just go to www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Again, that's marriageimmigrationlaw.com and download your own copy. All right, next question comes from KZ Khan. Now that they reopened the case on inquiry of senator, how long can it take to decide my I-130 is current? And they can take however long they want. Let's see. Marlon says, thank you. You're welcome. Six Faraz, do you think Humanitarian Parole would get approved if we apply for those living in? And the rest isn't there, but I don't think it's going to be approved or disapproved. You apply, and if they approve it, they approve it. I don't have any control about, that. That's just, you submit it and wish for the best. AHMB follows up. I-140 base EAD expiring in January 12th. I need to send for renewal. Does it count 100 days from the filing, or my original expire to keep? So if you have a work permit, an EAD, employment authorization document based on adjustment of status, a green card case, if you timely file for renewal, you automatically get, I think it's 140 or 180 days, something like that, extension of the work permit from the date of expiration. Plus, right now they're issuing the new work permits or renewals or new ones for 2 years. So that'll be able to hold you over for a while. But the extension is from the expiration plus the receipt notice you get will list how many days it is. I can't remember exactly how much right now. I can't remember if it's 4 months or 5 months or 6 months, but that'll hold you over. Ali asked, John, my original receipt for the I-130A was stolen along with my luggage. What I do? The receipts don't really matter. So as long as you have your receipt number, it's fine. You can always contact USCIS to reissue another one, but the receipt notices don't matter for cases. I scan them and throw away, so it doesn't matter. I need just, what does National Benefit Center do and what does National Visa Center do? Okay, that's a good question. So the National Benefit Center, NBC, it does an initial analysis primarily of adjustment of status cases to make sure all the basic documents are there. Then once done, they send it to the local field offices who will do a final decision on the green card case, many times doing an interview. The National Visa Center kind of does a similar thing, also known as the NVC. They accumulate the initial documents for green card cases to make sure they're all there. And then once complete, they send the case to the local embassy where the person is going to interview overseas. And then they, whenever they're open, they'll schedule an interview time. So essentially, both of them do the same function, except the National Visa Center, National Benefit Center, is part of the USCIS, and they work with the field offices that do interviews. And the National Visa Center is part of the Department of State, and they work with the embassies for them to schedule interviews. Their counterparts in different government agencies or departments that handle cases within the U.S. or outside the U.S. That's a good question. I never thought about that they do the same thing, but for different departments, but that's essentially what happens. Thank you for your question. Nick would tell us what's going on with the U visa. Who knows? There's delays and backlogs in U visa. I don't handle U visa cases, so talk to an attorney that does, but everything's just long delays. Feed Your Faith asked, upon checking my case status, it says on October 23rd, 2020, we sent your case to the Department of State for visa processing. How long will it take to get an interview in Bogota, more or less? There are no timelines, so there's no more or less. You just will get notifications from the National Visa Center. Once you get done with their paperwork, then you just wait for the embassy to schedule, but there are no timelines. Srinivasa asks, if a case is transferred between a service center for I-45, will it happen online or physical documents will be sent? I don't know exactly the procedures, but most likely they'll send a physical copy. I don't keep track of what they're doing internally necessarily because they keep changing stuff. Most likely they'll have the physical file. Artie asks, I just downloaded the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. Thank you, John. You're welcome, Artie. God bless. I appreciate it. Hopefully the book helps. Yas asks, if I'm filing I-130 for my mother, is the marriage certificate a requirement? Like I asked earlier, the marriage certificate have the issue. Well, for the form I-130, when you're applying for your mother, you don't need to submit a marriage certificate. When you apply for your father, you do. However, eventually, when they go to the U.S. Embassy to do their embassy interview, you have to bring the marriage certificate. Part of the processing with the National Visa and everything, a marriage certificate is required. So that issue will come up there. So if you're filing for your mom, you get the process started now, just have it started. But the name issue can become a problem later at the National Visa Center consular processing stage. Solomon asks, I did my biometrics for the N400, that's citizen. Why are they taking so long for interviews? It's been 4 months now. It's not long, really, in the big scheme of things in immigration. Could take a year and a half. They're just busy, you know. Netta says, hi. Well, hi to you, Netta. Thank you so much for joining the show. I appreciate that off of TikTok. So, you know, this question and issue about timelines is something that's very serious. The Government Accountability Office, the GAO, just did a big report. I'm going to read it and do a podcast on it. If you follow the Immigration Lawyers podcast, you see I do a lot of these reviews of this stuff. It's a podcast primarily for professionals in the immigration field, but if you're interested and you listen to it, just go to wherever your podcasts are found, type in Immigration Lawyers podcast. But the essence, GAO is saying, what the hell is going on? USCIS timelines are out of control. And that's just that. So when you ask why things are taking this long, there's a lot of cases going. There's a lot of turnover. USCIS employees are not staying. Every time you bring a new person in, it takes a while to learn this stuff. You know, I'm a professor of immigration law. I've taught at 2 law schools. I have a private training course for lawyers. I have a magazine I publish, a trade magazine called the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox Magazine. And all I do all day is study and think about immigration law and talk to lawyers about it. And although I'm considered an expert in the field, I still don't know half of it. It's that complicated. And so how are you going to have somebody just come on board and the courses they have for like 4 weeks and then expect them to be able to handle this stuff really quick and easy and that kind of stuff? So it's a really difficult game. Immigration laws are super complicated. And that's why, you know, it's better to have a lawyer, because you might have a government officer that doesn't know what they're doing because it's so hard. It's just complicated. And I study this stuff all day and it's still new stuff every day that's popping up. And so this is the problems that happen in the system that's too complicated, and with a bureaucracy that's completely messed up internally, employees completely dissatisfied. They do reports of satisfaction of government employees, and the Department of Homeland Security, particularly USCIS, is one of the most unsatisfied employee base of all the agencies within all the federal government, and they got a lot of employees, millions of employees. And it's just not run well, a lot of issues going on, and so that leads to people, the customers, being really hurt like this and then frustrated, and it's just how it is. Auntie asks, I did my biometrics for TPS in the past. Now biometrics wait for adjustment of status, EB3. If they want to, they will. It just depends on USCIS. You applied last month. Is that a positive thing, and will it help? Will it help to move the case faster? Right now, embassy. No, I don't think it'll help move the case faster. Your EB3 is going to be based on your priority date and stuff like that. You know, hopefully they'll have it in, but we'll see. A bigger issue is whether you've been maintaining valid status for the purpose of adjustment of status. So I hope you had an immigration attorney talk with you to go over your case history of the U.S., your lawful entry, if you had any gaps in coverage and all that kind of stuff to make sure that's not a problem. But the biometrics is not going to really be a factor in how fast your case is going to move. Netta asks, my fingerprint was taken in December 2019 for my green card. They sent me a note that my fingerprint's still valid, but no green card yet. I don't know what kind of green card category you're in. That's good that it's still valid, but you know, that's just it. We just gotta wait. 29 Super C asks, there's also trouble in the issuing of DV 2021 visas in countries outside the United States. Deadline is supposed to be September 3rd, 2021. So diversity, thank you, 29 Super C. The diversity visa lottery, for those who win the green card lottery, they have to have their case approved before the end of September, which is coming up really soon. And because the embassies are not processing cases, a lot of people who won the green card lottery are going to lose out, unfortunately. There's lawsuits about this. So there's some stuff happening there. I'm not following it closely myself, but a lot of people are going to get hurt on these delays. Yas follows up, sorry, one more question on the name issue. Can I submit the marriage certificate with incorrect last name now to get the process started and later update USCIS when name issue is resolved? Well, one is you don't need to submit your mom's marriage certificate for her case, but your dad, you will. I don't believe in ever submitting an incorrect document and then fixing it later. So as a lawyer professional, now you can do whatever you want to do. It might be the way to do, but I just part of my rules is either you're gonna do something right or don't do it at all. So I wouldn't. I just wait. I know you want to get it done faster, but professionally, I'm not allowed to submit a document that I know isn't correct. The ramifications would be too serious. I'd work on correcting that and correcting it properly, which might be some work, but I wouldn't do that myself. Okay, let's see. We'll take 1 or 2 more questions, and then we'll name the last raffle winner. Ali asks, on my I-130, my class of admission was incorrect. Is this a big issue, and how do I fix it? Well, you can just contact USCIS, probably write in a letter, say class of admission was incorrect. It doesn't really matter because they have the class of admission. They know it internally. But yeah, you can notify them by mail. It's not a big deal, as long as you're admitted lawfully, kind of thing. Attorney, nice to see you. Have a good night. God bless you. And T. Jewel asks, how is adjustment of status taken for EB3 applied last month, balance waived? Every case is different, so I don't have any answer about timelines, but Auntie Joe, you'll be our raffle winner. If you want to schedule a private video consultation, just take a screenshot of where you're watching this and just email it to me. We'll schedule a 15-minute video consultation, but I don't have answers about timelines. It depends on your case and where it is in the line, and at the end of the day, how fast USCIS wants to be. So all I say is just submit it and wait and hope for some good news. Yeah, says, thank you, you're welcome. We'll do this, Fate and Starboy, and we'll be done. Fate asks, I submitted my affidavit of support. My 2020 tax return is enough. My current income, national income, not enough. I don't know. I can't answer that until I review your paperwork, so I can't answer that question. And Starboy asks, I got my I-360 approved, and it says deferred action for 15 months. What does it mean? Deferred action means I'm not going to send you to immigration court for removal proceedings for 15 months, apparently. I don't handle I-360 cases, so it's not my specialty. So that's that. So Auntie Jewel, just take a screenshot where you're watching this, email it to me at info@jqqlaw.com, and I'll send you information about the video consultation. Until next week, everyone, we'll be back 5 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. I'm sorry, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Used to be 5 p.m., now 6 p.m. Take your questions live. Until then, God bless, be safe. Bye-bye.